Okay. Before we start, I just want to get some. Any questions so far?
No, so far.
Awesome. I just want to find out some general information about you before we go into testing the system a little bit.
Okay.
Firstly, what are you currently doing professionally or university, anything like that?
I am a student at university.
Studying?
Games development.
Awesome. So you do play games a little bit, yeah?
I do.
How many hours a week do you estimate you spend actually playing video games? Just a ballpark answer is fine.
Like 2 to 5.
2 to 5, yeah, that's good. Any of these Xbox One games or on a similar platform that use a controller as an input?
Yes.
Yeah, so you're familiar with the kind of controller kind of layouts and stuff like that, yeah, awesome. What kind of games do you normally play?
Normally I play stuff like a first-person shooters or maybe strategy games, top-down perspective.
So you have played a few top-down games in the past, yeah, something like that, awesome. Any favourite games?
Favorite stuff like Halo Wars, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Overwatch as well.
Nice. So yeah, you're pretty much into your top-down strategy kind of controls and stuff like that. Yeah, awesome. I'll come into a lot. I'll ask you a few questions on it later. In front of you, you can see a splash screen.
Yes.
Very common in an Xbox One game at this point. You'd normally be on the screen asking you to click A to progress.
Yep.
So the first of the 3 usability tasks I'm going to ask you to complete is try and get from this screen for me to the level select screen.
Okay.
Okay.
No problem. Cool. So initially I press play.
Yep.
Because I didn't indicate it. Is there anything on the screen?
Yeah. Awesome.
That's a level select.
Level select screen.
Well, from here I would press a new game.
Okay. Why is that?
Because I've not played this before. My first initial thing is I've not played this game before, so instantly press new game.
Cool. When you press it, that appears.
Okay. If I'm trying to do level select, I would press free play.
Cool.
Purely on the fact that I'm not trying to play a campaign, trying to do a level select.
Okay. This screen?
Screen.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're on the level select screen now.
My
fault. Yes.
Say that.
Okay. Part 2 of task 1.
Okay.
Yeah. Now you're on level select screen. Try and select level 2. That's the one you want to go into.
Level 2. I press next.
Okay.
I'm trying to select it, and then instantly press select.
Okay. So that brings you onto the main game screen. Okay. This is task 2 now.
Okay.
From here, I want you to try and place a tower in the world.
Okay, so do the orange blocks represent places like spaces that are in the world, or are they actual objects?
Do you kind of think, what do you think they'd represent?
I instantly would think they would represent spaces in the world where I can place objects.
Okay, so if they were that, what would you do to interact with it?
I would press on them.
Okay, cool. When you press on it, something like that appears.
Okay.
And you want to place a tower, so how would you go about that?
Well, I probably would click on one of these set objects.
Any one of them?
If I was doing Tower 1, I'd probably just do Tower 1.
But if you say you wanted to pick Tower 3 at this particular point, you wouldn't have any issues with picking Tower 3 or anything like that?
No, I'd instantly just move down with the controller rather than anything like that.
That's fine. Okay. So, you click a tower, and then that appears in the world.
Okay.
Does that signify to you that kind of something's been placed, an interaction has happened in the world?
Yep, something's appeared, something is
awesome. Okay, so I want you to remember this screen. Okay, imagine you're saving and exiting at this point.
Okay.
Okay? Now, I'm going to ask you for the final task to try and get back to that screen you're just at. Okay?
Okay.
I want you to get back to it, though, in as few clicks as possible.
Okay.
So, whenever you're ready, just go.
Okay. Press play.
Yep.
Move on from there. From here, I'd press continue.
Awesome. And you skip that, and you're straight at that screen.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, that's the test part of the... that's the usability test part over. We're just going to change up camera a little bit and do some quick questions. Okay? It's just it's just 10 questions to ask that system. But if you have any questions throughout, feel free to ask. The scale, so the way this questionnaire is going to work, you're going to ask you some statements on how much you agree with them.
Okay.
1 is strongly disagree, and 5 is strongly agree.
Okay.
The mic's a bit far away, so just try and project a little bit as you're speaking. Is that okay?
Okay, no problem.
Awesome. Okay, so if you were playing a tower defense game, Do you think this is a system you would frequently like to use?
I would probably say 4.
Okay.
Seems like general UI stuff I would expect from this type of game.
Yeah, so that's a good point. Did it actually cover everything you would expect?
Generally, yeah. Obviously, there's missing parts, but I'm assuming that's come along with iteration.
Just for example, what would you say is missing?
Just things like settings, stuff like that. So possibly, maybe just because from a normal thing, I prefer hotkeys or things like that from the system rather than menus. But apart from that, everything seemed to be good.
Did you see the settings in the main menu at all?
Yeah, I did. I think there was a setting for a menu.
Would there be anywhere else you'd expect to see them in the game then?
Yeah, I was honestly either I was expecting from some sort of pause system within the game, or even some sort of element within the UI, so like a cog in a corner, just so if necessary, I can change settings maybe.
On a controller, how would you think you interact with that cog in the corner though?
Oh, it's a fair point. Usually with systems, then it probably through a separate menu then, or even just a button within the controller. So
cool.
select something like that.
And you'd pull on your previous gaming knowledge for that kind of like interaction.
Yeah, because of previous knowledge rather than anything else.
Yeah. Okay. So how much do you agree with this statement? I found the system unnecessarily complex.
1.
Okay. Any thoughts why?
It's generally just very easy to use.
The menu item where it said either continue new game, and then new game split off into 2 separate menu items confuse you at all, or is that?
No, the main thing I would state was that the continue straight away is something that's confusing usually. I've played enough games that I know that if I've not played the game before, continue is not going to achieve anything. But if I instantly was brought with that, it'd be a bit confusing. Like,
so
I don't know,
continue should be kind of contextual.
It should be if there's a save file probably currently within the game to continue, rather than it should be instantly there.
Cool. I thought the system was easy to use.
5.
I think that I would need the support of a technical person to be able to use this system.
1.
Was that based on anything that was actually in the system right there though? So, for example, I don't know if you actually got onto it, but interactable objects were orange in the system. So all the buttons that you could actually interact with are orange, the squares on the screen were orange.
Yes.
Did the colour have any part to play, or was there any other factor that you kind of assumed?
Well, it was a mixture of both. I saw the green to the side, but because it was off to the side, instantly I assumed it was something I couldn't interact with. But because of orange as well as existing within an actual map, like around the path that was there, it just made it more obvious that those were the things to interact with.
Cool. I found the various systems that were integrated. I found the various functions in the system were integrated well.
5.
So do you know what? So kind of expand on that. What kind of functions do you remember seeing in the system?
Well, stuff like placing a tower, relatively simple. It's just placing one of the objects and then selecting one of the towers that appears. It's relatively simple to use. There's nothing difficult understanding about it.
There was a function in the game that you kind of missed a little bit. So when I asked you what tower you could place, there was a little circle next to them, a little yellow circle next to each of the towers that indicated how much each of the towers cost.
Yes.
And at the top of the screen there was the same icon that indicated how much money you actually had.
Yes.
So from that choice of the 4 towers, there was actually only one choice you could kind of pick. Was there anything I could do to make that more obvious to you, that you couldn't choose that tower? You know, why didn't it stand out to you?
Mainly because all of the things were the same colour. Usually in strategy games, there are things I've played before. If you can afford it, it's greyed out, or it's made quite clear that you can't afford it. Whereas because they're all there, it's very hard to pick apart that detail of money.
Just a little icon is enough, basically.
Yeah.
Got to find some other way to read
like
it.
if I'm clicking on it and it goes, I can't buy it, that's okay, but it's another click and something like that.
Awesome. I thought there was too much inconsistency in the system.
1. It's very consistent throughout.
I would imagine most people would find the system easy to learn.
5? Yeah, I'd say 5.
Even non-gamers?
Yeah,
So someone who's never picked up a game before, would they know how to interact with the system with a controller?
I think initially there might be a lot of information thrown at them, but that comes with strategy, tower defense games, stuff like that. I think there's enough simple interactions in there that once they just literally move the controller and got somewhere, it would appear obvious that they could use it.
Awesome. I found the system cumbersome.
One.
I felt very confident using the system.
5.
I needed to learn a lot of things before I could get going with the system.
1.
Okay. Awesome. It's all 10 questions done. Just before we leave, any kind of feedback, any general things you want to ask, anything you feel missing from the system?
No, currently at the moment, apart from maybe stuff to do with tower interaction, but I assume that would come along with further iteration.
But you found like kind of the navigational through it, so you found it in an appropriate way to how you would imagine going through a game. You'd hit the start button, you'd go to a new game, you'd then progress to a level select, and then you'd progress to a tower defense game.
Yeah.
If I pose to you a different kind of scenario, if I go new game, then I select the difficulty, then I select the if I go a new game, then I select the tower, then I select the map, and then I select the difficulty. Would that kind of make more sense to you to select the difficulty for individual maps, basically? Or would you find it set whole difficulty for the entirety of the game, and then your difficulty is indicated through enemies, rather?
Well, the way I would prefer it from previous games, for example, is that level selection and difficulty is together, it's all one thing. So you pick a level and then you can pick the difficulty you would desire for that particular level.
So it'd be each level
individually.
individually.
So each level individually rather than an overall just game.
Anything you want to ask? No. Awesome. That's it. That's the whole test. Thank you for your participation.
No problem.
We'll get back.